Welcome, Algebra 1 students. So we are going to talk about, here's my pen, couldn't find my pen. We're going to talk about percents today. We're going to use proportions, which we learned prior to today. We're going to use proportions to find percentages, right? So, right, percents find with proportions, okay? So make sure you have your paper, make sure you have your pencil out ready to go to copy down these notes. Pause if you have to, if I'm going too fast, rewind if you miss something. Here we go. All right. So there are three things that we need to know about this lesson here. The first word that we're going to learn is part. So when we hear the word part, right? Part of something, right? When we're talking about percent, we're talking about a part of a whole, right? So when you see part, you're going to see the word is. Keep that word in mind. Is the part of something, right? Okay. I'll explain later. Next is whole, right? The whole thing, the whole pizza, right? When we think of whole, think of the word of, right? Think of the word of. Finally, we have this word called percentage. And percentage is a percent symbol, right? Which is that right there. It's two circles with a line going across, like diagonal. So that's a percent, right? First part. Second part. We have blank proportion. So here is what I'm going to fill in. The word percent proportion. This is our percent proportion right here. As we remember, a proportion is equal to a fraction equals a fraction. Fraction equals fraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these words here and fill them in, these parts, and fill them into the empty spots right here. Right? So a part of something, like I told you before, right? A part of a pizza is less than the whole thing, right? Part, right? A part of the fruit. Let me have a part of that money. It's not all the money. It's a part of the money, right? It's a portion of the money. So this is where is goes right here on top of the proportion. Now, the whole thing, the whole, right, is of. And of goes on the bottom of this first fraction. So is over of, right? The part over the whole, right? Is over art, over of, I'm sorry. A part over the whole, the part over the whole, okay? So if we have is taken care of, we have of taken care of, percent we know is going to go right here, right? So percent actually means part of 100. So when you say, I got 50%, that means you got 50 out of 100. When you say, I got 3%, that means 3 out of 100. So percent goes right there. And we know that that is percent. Right? And the 100 is always there because when we're talking about percentages, again, it's always over 100, right? Out of 100. Okay? So this right here, kiddos, is the key that we're going to use to solve these problems. Where this is the percent proportion key. The percent proportion key. Okay? So, is over of is equal to percent over 100. Okay? So we're going to identify these parts in the questions below. First, instructions always. Instructions. The instructions say, solve each problem. Okay? Let's solve each problem. Let's go to number 1 here. Okay? So let's identify our parts. So first, let's read the whole thing. Okay? 429 is what percent of 229? So let me show you here. Let's start identifying parts here. 429 is, look at that. 429 is what percent? What? I don't know. When you say what, that means you don't know. What? Right? And let's pick this purple here. Of 229. Look at that. We have all our parts. So let's remember that our percentage is over of our percentage proportion is equal to percent over 100. So what was is? What is is? Well, is 429. So 429 over what is of? Of 229. 229 equals, remember, the 100 is always there, always 100%. It says, what percent? We don't know. So then what letter do we use usually for the most part when we don't know something? Right? When we don't know something, we use X. X is our variable. X is our unknown. And now look at this. This looks exactly what we were doing last time. So we're going to cross multiply. X times 29, 100 times 429. So 100 times 429 is 4,290. I'm sorry, 42,900, right? It's just 2 zeros. 429 plus 2 zeros is equal to 229 times x is 229x, which means times x, right? So now the opposite of multiplying by 229 is dividing by 229, right? It's a better 9. There you go. And I get x is equal to, well, let's use our trusty calculator here. 42900 divided by 229 is equal to 187.3. Right? Now that's our solution, excuse me. But what are we finding here? This on top of x. And what is on top of x here? Percent. So our actual answer is x is equal to 187.3%. This is our final solution right there. Because we're finding percent. And actually it asked us what percent? 187.3%. Look at that. There we go. Now this is the kind of problem where you're looking for the percent, right? The percent is missing. So let's look at our second example. And let's start highlighting again. All right? So it says, well, let's read it first. What is 140% of 39? So what is 140% of 39? Look at that, right? So let us write our proportion always. Is over of is equal to percent over 100. So now let's fill in our information. What is my is? It says what is? What? We don't know. So our is our x. Because we don't know. X, it's unknown, right? It's a variable. What is our of? Of 39. Look at that. Of 39 is equal to percent. Well, 140%. 140% of, always 100 on the bottom here, right? Always 100 on the bottom. So what is 140% of 39? We're missing the part, right? Because remember, is the part. What part of 39 is 140%, right? More than 100%. So in order to solve these, we're going to cross multiply here, butterfly, and these wings go like this, right? So 100 times x is 100x equals, which means 100 times x. 39 times 140, I'm going to use my calculator for that guy. 39 times 140 is 5,460. 5,460. And now to solve, I draw my line of separation. The opposite of multiplying by 100 is dividing by 100. So I get x is equal to 5,460 divided by 100 is equal to 54.6. And that is my solution. Well, is that a percent? Well, let's see. What's missing here? Is percent missing? Oops. Is percent missing? Nope, I got my percent. The is part is missing. And the is part is not percent. So this is correct. So 54.6 out of 39 is more than 39, right? 54.6 is more than 39, so it's more than 100%. It's 140%. So perfect. That's all we know that we're right, because it's more than 100%. Okay? It's like saying you ate 140% of the pizza. You ate the whole pizza plus more of the pizza, right? 140%. 40% more than 100. Okay? Now let's do number 3. Okay? So again, let's identify our parts. 306.5 is, okay, interesting. 77%, okay, of, well, let's pick another color. It's got to be different. Wait a minute. This was purple. 77% of what? 306.5 is 77% of what? Well, let's set up our proportion. Is over of is equal to percent over 100, right? So let's identify our parts. Let's see. What is my is? 306.5 is. So that's my part. 306.5, excuse me. What is my of? Of what? So, of what? I don't know. We don't know what the whole is. 365 of what? So that's my variable, is equal to percent, which is 77%, and always 100. Remember? Always 100. So now we have a proportion, wonderful proportion, which we're already familiar with, right? So let's do x times 77 and 100 times 306.5. So 100 times, not divided by, so 306.5 times 100 is equal to that's not a 0, 0650, right, is equal to x times 77 is 77x. Okay? And now we draw our line of separation, and we know 77x means 77 times x. So the opposite of multiplying by 77 is dividing by 77. So 30650 divided by 77 is equal to 398.1 is equal to x. And that is my solution. Well, is it a percent? Is it percent that's missing? No, I have my percent. So this answer is not going to be a percent. It's going to be just a number. So we found what? 306.5 is 77% of 398.1, which makes sense, right? It's not 100%. It's not 398.1 right here. It's getting there, which is around 77%. Perfect. Okay? And that right there, kiddos, is the lesson for finding percents with proportions, right? Percents finding with proportions. So make sure that you took notes, make sure that you pause, make sure that you rewind in order to copy and get everything down that you need. Alrighty? Thank you very much.